Hi, my name is Karina and I'm from Chiltern MOT Training. I'm a qualified MOT manager and I provide the AEC support role and compliance services to many MOT stations. Chiltern MOT Training offer the full range of MOT training, managers, testers, as well as the annual CPD for existing testers. We also carry out compliance visits all around the country and work for many MOT stations of all shapes and sizes. We've recently added the QC course to our repertoire after it became apparent in talking to MOT managers and business owners that there were some gaps in the knowledge of the people who were being asked to complete the mandatory QC checks. We're always here to help with any MOT related training or compliance questions. So we've put this video together to answer some of the questions surrounding MOT quality checks. So I'm talking to Russell in this video as we go through some of the many questions that we have seen and been asked about the whole QC process. Hello to Russell.
Hello there.
Hiya. You got some questions for me?
I have, yes. Right, okay. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, what is a QC course and what's its purpose?
So this course is intended to give a QC a thorough idea of the duties and responsibilities involved in this role. It would provide an insight into the DVSA requirements, provide support, improve knowledge and understanding, and as was the last time I delivered this course, my aim is not to burden or terrify the QC. So after taking this course, a QC would be feeling more confident in his knowledge and position, better able to fulfil this very important role.
Okay, so as an MOT manager, why would I put my QC on this course?
Well, there are many reasons why a business would decide to put their QC on this course. Among them could be peace of mind for you. If you know that your QC has gone through a training course, you can be confident now that he knows what is expected of him and how he should be conducting the monthly by monthly checks. Could be a confidence boost for the QC in question. He will know exactly what is involved in the role and what you expect from him. Or it could be to give your QC some kudos in the workplace. I know in some places the testers can be resistant to one of their peers looking at how they conduct their work. Training will give some public recognition to your QC and send a message to all of your testers that you take the role of QC very seriously.
Can I choose anybody to be a QC?
Yes, anybody that's an experienced MOT tester, and I would go with an experienced tester. He needs to know what he's at.
So is a quality controller a mandatory position? Is this course mandatory?
The course is not mandatory. It's a matter of personal choice. The QC position is not mandatory as in that people don't need to be a QC, but somebody has to fulfill the QC process. The checks must be done. Those definitely are mandatory and part of DVSA compliance.
Okay. What type of QC checks are there?
So there's two types of QC check. The one that most people are familiar with is the occupation check. So the QC would stand to one side of the test lane and just quietly watch. And then when the tester had finished, would be able to then discuss those with him. The other sort is the sort where the DVSA turn up at your premises and say, can you put that car back on the ramp for me, please? QC would be looking at a vehicle that the tester had already checked.
Okay. How often do the QC checks need to be done?
Well, the DVSA states that it should be as a minimum of every other month, but that's going on an MOT tester who's doing 2 or 3 tests a day, and I really don't know many that do that few. So I would suggest that monthly is what is required for these checks.
Okay. So if I'm a QC and I'm doing a QC check. Am I also doing training at the same time? Am I talking to them? Am I helping them?
No. There is no time when an MOT tester should be disturbed while he's running an MOT test. So the role of the QC during an observation is to stand back with his clipboard and his paper, make his notes, and then when the test is finished, he can then take those notes and his comments and observations to the tester.
Do I need to keep records of these happening?
Keeping records for the DVSA is one thing that they like very much. After all, if there are no paper trails for them to look at when they come and do a site review, then as far as they're concerned, you haven't done it. So yes, very definitely keep records. And I would have a compliance folder and keep all your MOT compliance paperwork in the one place, ready to hand over when the inspector comes around.
Okay. What other resources do I need?
Well, your QC should be able to access the MOT test logs and the test quality information reports. Now, he may need some help with that depending on his role on your MOT service. If he's one of your testers, he won't have access to those reports, but perhaps you as his MOT manager could print those for him every month, and they will help him to conduct the QC. They'll sort of like focus the mind. It may be that he can see by looking at those reports that George is constantly failing brakes, for example. So therefore he can pay particular attention when George is checking the brakes on the test. Can have a chat with him afterwards about the current criteria. Maybe they can both look in the manual, and all those things can be documented on the report.
Okay. Can I just use pen and paper, or is there any special forms I need to use?
Pen and paper is always good. VT29 is the best form to use. So just a second copy of the one that most MOT testers use while they're conducting their MOT test. It's got all the information at the top of the screen, top of the paper, I should say, of the vehicle, the time, the date, who's doing the test, that sort of thing. Nice big blank space in the middle, so that the QC then's got plenty to write his observations, and then the pair of them can sign off and date at the end.
Okay. So it's a bit of a tick box exercise, really. Do I can just get the QC to just sign them off, couldn't I?
No. Please don't do that. Otherwise, you might as well just not bother, had you? If you're going to take your compliance seriously, then this is a big part of it. So you need to make sure that he's writing proper comments on the report. So okay or good test isn't really enough. Need something more along the lines of Harry did a really thorough test, but he did miss the security check on the rear number plate. There's no harm in writing anything negative, so long as next month you're not writing the same thing about Harry. And if on the third month you're still doing it, then we might need an action plan put together. But yeah, proper commentary is what's needed.
Okay, so just honesty, really. What you've seen. Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
What if my QC and tester disagree with each other?
It does happen sometimes, but I would hope that as two grown adults in a work environment, that they could manage to sort themselves out. It may mean that they need to go and look at the MOT manual and maybe check the current criteria and satisfy themselves that yes, that's how you would read it. It may require a third tester to put some opinion in. If the worst comes to the worst, the pair of them end up in front of you, and you get to sort it. But
yeah,
it doesn't often get that far, I don't believe.
No, sure. Okay, how long's the course?
That's going to depend on how we end up delivering it. At the moment, sensibly and appropriately, we would be looking to deliver this over a Zoom call. I think, face to face is going to be 4 or 6 hours, depending on the participants, depending on how much feedback and involvement there is. But if we were going to do it on a Zoom call, I'd probably split it into 2, even maybe 3 bits over a couple of days. I think sitting in front of a screen there can be too much of it, and if you try and hold somebody's attention for that long on a screen, it may be difficult. Face to face, it's a bit easier, I think. So definitely wrapped up face to face within a day on a Zoom call over a couple of 3 sessions.
Okay, that's all the questions I've got. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, I hope I answered those all, and the information was useful. And thanks for all those questions, Russell. It was very interesting. You raised some really good points there. So if this insight into the role of the QC and his responsibilities has created some further questions for you, and you think it might be useful for your QC to attend a course, then please do let me know. I'll pop some contact details up at the end of this video. We can offer classroom courses either at your premises or at mine. Numbers will be obviously need to come into effect there, but Zoom calls are always good. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.